Hello, viewers. Welcome to part two of business fundamentals. So, in the last class, we saw what are the different type of businesses and what are the different kind of ownership or business entity that you can float or start with. So, the next important processes that we are going to see for businesses, we will see in the couple of slides, and this again is going to be very important. And it is good that you know this entire business fundamentals so that when you're working, when you're getting into the real world, especially for those fresh graduates who are looking for a job, when you get into the real world, it is going to really be helpful to you. So let's see what are the first business process. The most important thing is that, yes, so you have decided to start a business, you want to start as a proprietor company, but then you need the capital, right? So probably you will have capital which you will invest, and since you're going to start on a small scale, so that is where you're going to arrange for capital. Generally capital, you might be having some savings or other thing, and also based on your good credit rating, probably you can go for loan uh, towards get arranging capital for your business. So that's the first thing. So make sure that you have adequate capital for managing and operating your business. The second process, important thing, again, this might not be in order, right? So basically, I'm just trying to give you people an idea of what are those important aspects that you need to take care of when you're going to start your business. Acquiring assets and infrastructure. Now, in this case, acquiring assets mean acquiring the manpower, then acquiring all relevant equipments, machineries, or any such assets which is required for you to run your business efficiently. And acquiring infrastructure, again, in case you don't have your own place, you need to take a place on rent. So all those formalities you need to complete. Then comes your registration with the various statutory bodies. Now this again, for you to conduct a legitimate and legal business in our country, there are various statutory bodies and regulations where you are expected to register as per the requirement of those statute bodies. For example, uh, when you're doing a business, there are various registrations. So one of the two very important registration that you have to definitely have is, one is your indirect tax registration, and the other one is your direct tax registration. Now, I will be covering in the taxation fundamentals in detail about the various taxation that are prevalent in our country, and also will give you an overview of each of the taxation, how these taxations are functioning, and you as a finance person or as a new business person who want to start your business, it's very important for you to understand these things. So basically, we will cover that a little later. Now, let's say that one the indirect tax. Now, fortunately, after the introduction of GST from 1st of July 2017, the registration processes for businesses have drastically come down. And for example, let me just give an example. Now, prior to GST, let us take an example that you are a manufacturer. Now, if you are a manufacturer in India, you are supposed to register under the excise law. Now, there are some threshold, turnover thresholds, and other thing. So, basically, for your knowledge, I'm just mentioning that, assuming that you are, over and above the threshold limit. So, you have to take a excise registration. So, you have a separate, like registration certificate. You have to file various returns as per the statute of excise. Number one. Number two, if you are providing service, again, if you are exceeding the threshold as per the law, you are supposed to register under service tax. Now, the service tax, again, you need to get a service tax certificate. There are different forms that you need to be submitting on a periodic basis as per the requirement or as per the law of service tax. Number three, uh, since you are a manufacturer, you have to, in any case, sell your material. Now, for sale of your goods or produce or products, you have to register under VAT laws. VAT law is basically a state law, and the excise and service tax is a central law. Like I mentioned, we will get into this detail when we get to the fundamentals of taxation. So one, two, three, excise, service, VAT, three different registration, three different certificate, three different sets of form you need to keep filing on a periodic basis. So the compliance was, more cumbersome process for businesses. Now, fortunately, after introduction of GST, this whole indirect tax, the major indirect taxes, which I had mentioned about the excise, service tax, and the VAT, have got subsumed into one single law, which is GST, and GST stands for Goods and Services Tax. So if you are a manufacturer, service provider, and if you are selling goods or supplying goods, there are a lot of terminology change in GST. We will discuss this later. So if you are manufacturer, supply of service or supply of goods or services, you need to now take one single registration and one return form. In the sense, there are multiple forms for that law, but then you don't have to file multiple things. So this is one of the major registration that is required when you start your business. You need to make sure that you are registering as per the law. Then comes your direct tax. Now, in case of direct tax, it's basically, direct tax is broadly the income tax, and any income that you earn out of your business, it is liable to income tax. Now, so you have to take a registration under income tax, which means you know that you need to have a PAN. So PAN is permanent account number, issued by the direct tax department or the income tax department. It's basically like a registration that you have. Now, since we decided that we are going to start a business as a proprietor company, so the PAN registration or the income tax registration will not happen in the name of the company, since the company is a proprietary run company. So you have to take, as a proprietor, you have to take, you have to register under income tax and apply for PAN and then get the PAN card. So all income that is arising out of your business, and also any other income as an individual you are earning, so those are the income that needs to be declared in income tax, and based on the tax slab, you pay income tax. Now, if you see, if your firm is a partnership, so we saw various ownership or the various entities in the previous session. So if you see, uh, in case from partnership onwards, so a partnership, either it is a registered partnership or unregistered partnership, private limited company, public limited company, and LLP. So these companies are treated as an individual entity, and you have to have a PAN for these companies in the name of the company. And any income arising out of that, the taxes are leviable. So that is your second major compliance, which you have to take care of or register yourself. Then there are various other registrations that you need to take care of, depending on the size of your business, number of employees you have in your organization. For example, if you have more than 20 employees in your organization, then you are supposed to register under the Provident Fund Act, right? And also, depending on the salary of the employees, you will have to register under ESIC Act. So basically, ESIC stands for the Employee State Insurance, right? So these things we will cover later as we move forward. Then you also have various other registrations that you need to take care of. There's a long list of registration that you need to really take care of. So uh, you might have to, if you might be liable under Factories Act, then maybe Shops and Commercial Establishment Act, Weights and Measures Act, so many other things are there. So you have to make sure that you take all those relevant necessary registrations that are required to be compliant by your business is taken care of. Okay, then we will see what are the other things. So you have now got your capital, you have your infrastructure ready, and you have registered with say various statutory bodies. So now you can run a legal and legitimate business. So what is one major or the first major process that you need to undertake? So the first major process is procurement to pay. Now, generally, you must have heard this terminology called purchase cycle, right? So the purchase cycle is basically the procurement to pay. So what are the steps or what are the processes that are involved from your purchase to your payment? So in between, what things are there now for you to make a purchase? What are the connecting documents or what are the processes or the steps that you need to follow? Now, again, it all depends on every organization, the size of the business, the number of people involved, the number of departments that they have. The procurement cycle or the purchase cycle can have multiple steps, or it can have couple of steps which are important. So the least important step or the least important cycle for procurement to pay or a purchase cycle is very simple. If you take an example of a private limited, sorry, if you take an example of a proprietorship, one man show company, right? And I'm a very small proprietary company or a trader that I am. So in my case, if you see the least components or the least steps that is required in your procurement to pay is very simple. You call up your supplier, place an order, the person is giving the material along with the purchase invoice, you account for the purchase invoice, and then you make the payment. So your purchase cycle is completed. So like this, you have various steps that gets involved depending on the size, nature of your business, and the magnitude of your purchase activities, and with various departments getting involved into the business. Okay, so that is one part of it. So we will see in the upcoming sessions, we will get into the detail of procurement to pay, and then we will discuss about what is the ideal procurement to pay cycle that you should be knowing, and how this procurement to pay cycle operates in a business is what we will understand uh, in the next session. Then you have, so you have purchased material. So what are you going to do? So you have to now find your customer, right? So the longer the material is lying with you, your working capital is getting blocked, right? So the way we are going to see in detail about the procurement to pay cycle, we also have, so we will see the order to cash components or steps or the sub processes. Right. So basically, in the order to cash, you have to find your customer, and what are the other various uh, processes or steps that are critical for you to have an effective sales cycle. So here again, selling is very simple, right? So collecting money, like if you're selling on cash, then there is no hassle. But then in today's competitive world, it is very difficult for you to have cash transactions. And unfortunately, with this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, we all know how things are bad uh, in the marketplace, right? So it is very, very important that how you manage your order cycle. So that's basically about your order cycle. Then comes your operating expenses. So one is your major activity is your procurement cycle, then is your sales cycle, and apart from that, there are various other operating expenses as a business you need to incur for running your business effectively, efficiently, and ensure that you are achieving your objective of profitability of your organization. So various operating expenses that are required by the businesses, you will have to take care, or you will have to incur those expenses. So we will also see in detail what are the operating expenses that generally are I mean like incurred by the businesses, and how it is impacting the business activities, right? And the next one is very very important, which is your receivable and payable management. Like I said, if you're selling on credit, people are willing to buy, but the most important thing is how are you managing your receivables, right? So which means basically I mean like you will have multiple customers with multiple invoices or multiple sales that you have made, and probably you would have had credit period extended to your customer. Again, basically for you to arrive at credit period, various activities, or the various components of your business is what you will basically analyze, and then you will arrive at what is the an average credit limit that you can extend. And definitely, yes, one of the most important criteria that is going to apply for you to extend credit to your customer is that how many number of days, or what is that period of credit that you are enjoying from your vendor or your supplier, right? So let's take a simple example. Let us say your supplier, your sundry creditor, or your vendor is giving you, say, 30 days credit, right? And it is very simple, it's not a rocket science, very simple, that you can always, to be on the safer side, you can always extend 20 days of credit to your customer. So that means by the time your liability to pay your supplier arises, you make sure that you are able to collect that money from your customer, and then you pay your supplier. But the important question here is that how are you managing the receivables and also the payables, right? Generally, if you see, traditionally businesses are more concerned about the money that the company needs to receive, and they don't take much they don't put much effort or track the payable part, because generally people think that, okay, that person needs money, so let him call, then I will make a payment to him. Nowadays it is very very difficult for you to take such a casual step in business. It is very important the way you are serious about getting your money from your customer. In the same manner, it is important for you to make sure that you are tracking all your payables and you are meeting those commitments within the time. And if you are not able to meet the commitment, probably you need to call up your supplier, and then basically request him for an additional extended period of credit, or whatever reason that you would want to give, so that you are in the good books of your supplier. Because these days it is very very difficult. One is that it is very important that you have to make sure that your credibility in the market is pretty good, or it is positive. Because if the credibility is not there in the market, for example, if you are defaulting the payment with your couple of major suppliers, let us assume, now these people are definitely going to spread the word. And unfortunately today, with this social media and the technology and the digitization environment, it is very simple. I mean, like, the frustrated supplier of yours, probably, you people might be having various association groups and so many other things. And also, the social media where you have Facebook, LinkedIn, probably in case if that person is going to upload saying that, hey, look, this person is not a reliable person. So you be very careful with this person. Don't supply material, or if you are supplying material, you are supplying at your risk. So something like this, in case if this person is going to I mean like post it in a social media out of frustration, then you can just imagine. And today we know how strong and how fast is this social media network, or the spread of information that reaches millions of people. So we have to be very careful. So what we will also be looking into it, and if you see, Tally as a beautiful feature, which is called as a bill wise detail, where you can track your receivable and payable management. So basically, what are the things that you need to ensure that you have those information for you to track your receivable and payable. So in case of receivable payable, one is that you need to know that when is that bill going to be due, whether you have to pay or whether you have to receive. So this way there might be multiple bill with multiple dates and multiple due dates are there. So one is that one party's multiple invoice you need to track, and multiple parties multiple invoices you need to track, applicable both for receivable and payable. Then various other thing, in case if the person is not making the payment on time or you want to send a reminder. So there are a lot of steps or the processes involved in your receivable and payable management, which we will be again going in detail in the upcoming sessions, right? Then the lifeline or the bloodline of of any business, right? Your cash and fund flow. So how are you managing your cash flow, and how good does your working capital position looks like, and how are the funds are moving in your organizations, whether you have a positive fund at any given point in time, or are you running with a negative fund, is what one again very important aspect that as a business you need to track. And we will try and understand what is the difference between a cash flow and a fund flow, and what components constitutes cash flow, what components constitute fund flow. How do you look into this information, how do you interpret this information, and how do you consume this information, is what we will be learning in our cash flow and the fund flow. Then comes, like I said, a very very important step that is required, is the periodic statutory compliance, right? So like for example, if you are registered under GST, again depending on the turnover of your company, you might have to file your outward supply, which is basically your sales. This is as of today. There are a lot of changes are going to come in the future. So as of today, if you see, you have to supply, I mean, you have to submit your uh, outward supply information. So the current form that is there is GSTR 1. Now that depending on your turnover, you might have to submit it on a monthly basis to the department. All these are online things. So no more you have to walk into any office and then stand in the queue and submit this information, right? So everything is online, right? So you have to file monthly, and every person in GST, you have to pay tax, whatever is that extra tax that you're going to collect after reducing your input tax credit. You need to pay and file a return, which is today in the form of GSTR 3B. That needs to be filed on a monthly basis. Then you have annual return to be filed based on turnover, is one from a GST point of view. Now, from an income tax point of view, you have to file your return of income for income tax once in a year. So similarly, in case of if you are registered under professional tax, if you are registered under provident fund, if you are registered under ESIC Act, right? So there are periodic filing of return needs to be done, payment needs to be made. All this you need to make sure that you are making those payments on time. Otherwise, it is going to attract late fee, interest, and penalties also. So we have to take care of this. So if you see broadly, these are a major. Now, like I said, there are many other things, broadly, for you to get an understanding of what constitutes the major processes for businesses to operate, and how businesses operate, and what are the components that are required for them to run a successful business, right? So in the next class, like I mentioned, we will be getting into the detail of procurement to pay cycle. So what components constitutes procurement to pay cycle, and how do we understand each of these steps, and what impact does it has on the business, is what we are going to see in the upcoming classes. Then we will also see the steps of the processes, and the steps of order to cash cycle. Then we will be also see the detail of what are the just for us to get an idea, when we talk about operating expenses, what is the nature of expenses which are in the nature of operation for business, is what we will get into the detail. Then we will try and understand the receivable payable management. We will also briefly try and understand what do you mean by cash flow and what constitutes this cash flow and fund flow. Then of course periodic statement, we will get into the taxation module in detail in the upcoming sessions. Hope this session would have given you more clarity for people who are getting into this world of business newly, and also people who are in business. Probably this information could have helped you to an extent. So thank you very much, all of you, and I hope that you will subscribe the channel so that you will get and press the uh, like it, press the bell button, so that whenever I upload the new videos, you will get the information. And if you really like it, please share it and please subscribe it. So thank you very much. Until next session, see you all. Thank you very much. Have a good day.